Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the How to Survive Living with an Alcoholic series. And now, today, I want to start talking about the 12-step program, because many people who are living with any kind of addiction or are partners of someone with any kind of addiction find a 12-step program really helpful. So just to get on with this now, step number one is admitted I was powerless. Now, many people who are living with a partner with an active addiction, and in this case, perhaps alcoholism, or, there's some question mark about whether their partner is alcohol dependent or, alcohol addicted. So it's a difficult one to live with. As you have been following the series, you all know this. But step number one is step number one for a reason. It goes before all the other steps. And it is admitted I was powerless. And, when you look at what does that mean, it carries on to say powerless over alcohol or over my partner's anybody else's alcohol use. And the partners of alcoholics or people with alcohol problems seem to think that they can control it in some way and control their partners in some way. So that will either be by nagging them, by being angry with them, by punish them, stonewalling them, nagging and disapproving of them, giving them looks, and all of those kind of behaviors that are fundamentally punishing and disapproving, and look what you've done to me. There's a lot of gameplay goes on with partners of alcoholics, in that they believe if it wasn't for him or her, I'd be happy, we'd be happy. Why does he do this to me? And you see, underneath that is a belief that their happiness depends on the behavior of someone else. Now, that is a recipe for unhappiness, because as long as you think someone else can determine whether you're happy or unhappy, you're always giving your power away to someone else. Actually, there are some people who live with alcoholics and they are quite happy with themselves. They may not like that aspect of their partner's behavior, but they manage to have some degree of acceptance. So, people living with this problem become very controlling. And the control is in the disapproval, the nagging, the contempt, and all of those things that really might make a bad situation worse. So these steps are really tried and tested. And the first one, admitted I was powerless, because the thing is, all your disapproval, all your nagging, all your manipulation, all your string pulling does not actually make anyone stop drinking. It just makes a lot of tension in your household. It makes for your children getting fed up with, oh, here we go again, this scenario that plays out between mum and dad. So what's the answer? The answer is to accept. You will never, ever, ever be able to make anyone else stop drinking. You can't do it. And the sooner you accept that, the easier it will be for you and everybody around you. So this controlling behavior is a kind of an addictive behavior. The alcoholic thinks that they can control their drinking, they don't have a problem. And you think that you can control them, and you don't think that that's a problem. Once you get to recognize it is a problem, and actually I'm going to focus on changing my own behavior. The first 3 steps in the 12-step program is about accepting you are powerless over someone else's drinking. And it is about giving up that sense that you have got some power, to let it go, to surrender. And the maxims in Al-Anon are really very useful. I am not promoting Al-Anon here. I am simply saying I personally find it very useful at a difficult time in my life. And I think other people do find it really helpful. The 12 steps is a really useful program. So some of the maxims in Al-Anon, fit with that first step, that admitted I was powerless. Things like let go and let God. Just let it go. Let go trying to control it. Just let it go, because you can't. Let it go. Live and let live. Don't always think that you know best, for somebody else. And, the serenity prayer is about God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And this applies to life in general. There are some things in life you can't change. And until you accept you can't change them, you have no peace. Peace comes when you accept that you can't change this. The prayers, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There is wisdom in knowing what you can change and what you can't change. You can only change your own behavior. You need to focus on getting your own peace and serenity, not constantly working out how to make him change or her change. You can't make other people change. And really, and I get it, when it becomes so intolerable and so difficult that you absolutely can't feel you can't live with it any longer, and you refuse to live with it any longer, you always have a choice that you can leave. And that is your choice. If you choose to stay, you need to give up trying to make them be how you want them to be, because you won't succeed. So in the next video, we'll be looking at how to detach from that, because it is difficult. I'm not saying this is easy. It is difficult to detach, and it's a skill, and it's something to be learned, but you can't ever learn to detach, and to detach with love, until you accept you can't change it. So watch out for the next video on detachment. Bye for now.